one of the first action stars of Hollywood, known for playing Zorro, pirates, cowboys, war heroes, and even adventurers of the silver screen. A legend of the silver screen during the golden age of cinema, leading male actor in many films for over 20 years, and even a career cut short whilst being a legend of the silver screen. Iconic star that would have set the bar for many actors who would play swashbuckling heroes on the silver screen, and even heroes in general. Starring in his first Hollywood career as a lead, and then finishing it early as a lead. This is Tyrone Power, and this is his basic biography. Early life. Tyrone Power was born on the 5th of May 1914 in Cincinnati, Ohio, USA, and would be named Tyrone Power III due to having other members of the family having Tyrone Power in their name, and even being the third member of his family to have it. His father was a stage actor from the UK, and his mother was a stage actress from the UK, who had moved to the United States to expand their careers in acting. As these actors were from a different country, they were being able to start their career outside the UK for the first time. He would live in California after his birth, and having his parents being able to still work in acting due to their parts on stage within California being shown during the late 1910s and throughout the whole decades afterwards. Later, his parents would divorce, with his father working in New York and his mother still living in the California area. He attended schools in the state of California and would spend time in the 1920s going to elementary schools, with a chance to going on to high schools during the early 1930s, even having a chance to spend time working on stage in various school plays. Whilst studying, he would manage to take up acting as a job, with a chance to show his talents to new people, and even creating a base for all audiences to seeing a British stage actor's son becoming big in the United States, and later becoming part of Hollywood instead of the stage. Acting career. He was a student actor when he was going to school, and even had a career after graduating from high school, rather than going to university. His father would pass away when he joined him on this stage, and in which he was only to play bit roles whilst his father was getting the lead roles by having his father mentoring him, and even having the mentoring role during the time the young Tyrone Power was becoming a great actor of the stage. He was in New York working as a lead actor straight afterwards once there was an opportunity for him to gain some credit in Broadway. His major stage performance was in the play Flowers of the Forest in 1935, and had a chance to perform in Hollywood theaters at the same time. Once he was established, he was by getting help from his father in the 1930s after graduating from high school. Tyrone Power got himself onto the acting stage, and even became a lead actor from this success. Hollywood executives were able to offer him roles within film, whilst being a stage performer, showing that could be a full-time actor and a young star who could contend with many Hollywood elites to legends who were not able to play action stars or characters linked to adventure, which was less common in the acting community. He would star in his first major performance of his first major film role, Jesse James, in 1939, with Henry Fonda playing as his brother, Jesse James himself. I mean, playing as Jesse James' brother, but yet Tyrone Power will be playing Jesse James himself. The film made him become a action star overnight, and before that linked to many Hollywood historical films, dramas, and even comedies, to name a few, during the 1930s. The first action star to war hero. Tyrone Power was the new action star that would set a trend to other actors that will follow after him. After starring in the movie Jesse James, he could make the character an iconic action hero with elements of history being implemented. He starred in the 1940s by acting in many action films and even dramas that made him a young star and that would take on the world. He enlisted in the United States Marine Corps during World War II to finish his tenure in and then finish his tenure in the 1950s. Whilst being an actor that was an action star, being a hero to many, he was able to fight in the Marine Corps in Europe, as well as acting in movies that were favored by many. He took part in battles such as Iwo Jima, in the Battle of Iwo Jima itself, and then take time for him to get many awards in the Pacific Campaign in the Marine Corps. The next film that would make him an international star was the movie The Mark of Zorro in 1940, that would have him learning how to sword fight and trading in the gun with a sword that would be used to fight against the villains and even enemies that would hurt his character. He would play this character um, and even be able to learn how to use acrobatics and even fight crime to make these villains die on the silver screen, with him, the hero, living. When fighting in the war, he would spend time starring in more movies that had audiences around the world paying big money to see him fight crime and even make himself a silver screen hero, to becoming Errol Flynn's successor. In the remainder of the 1940s, Tyrone Power continued to fight for the United States and even helped win the war for the country, with many actors and people who were actors themselves were able to mainly work for the armed forces as well to help defeat the enemy forces. He starred in another film called The Black Swan that had him the male lead and a new actress, Maureen O'Hara, being the female lead actress or adventurer, showing that pirates were cool in those days, with a chance to show off his skills as a swordsman. The film genres that would star in would change later for him on this particular later decades, as he would be able to star in as a war hero, with himself being a hero himself and a veteran with experiences with each of his characters he could play in. He starred in the movie Razor's Edge in 1946 with Gene Tierney, and making them a great on-screen couple, and even ending the 1940s with Prince of Foxes in 1949. Personal life and final years. Tyrone Power would be married at least 3 times and would have 3 children based on his relationships. His first wife was Annabella from 1939 to 1948. His second wife was Linda Christian from 1949 to 1956, and his last wife was Deborah Midros from 1958 to his death in the same year. The 1950s would be a great decade in which he could be a hero again, with a chance of to age on the silver screen, with most of his hero characters doing the same. He would take part in various genres of the silver screen, and even have a chance of performing in various radio performances with people around the world tuning in. He would leave the 20th Century Fox production company at this time and would star in movies that would make him a legend of the silver screen. He starred in movies such as Pony Soldier in 1952, a western based on his character being a cop hunting down criminals of the Old West. The Long Grey Line in 1955 with Maureen O'Hara again, that would have them becoming another great on-screen couple of this decade, and then ending his last complete film, Witness, for the Protection in 1957. His last ever film performance was done after his death, but which was in the movie called Solomon and Sheba, with Yul Brynner taking over after his death. Legacy and death. Sadly, Tyrone Power would pass away from a heart attack on the 15th of November 1958 at the age of 44 years old. He was a major star of the 1940s and 1950s that had a chance to be even better before his death occurred. He had a chance to work with major stars of his time and being able to star in many films that were based on historical stories and stories of old. His legacy lives on with his family taking over and would have a chance to become icons in Europe and around the world. Other actors would take over for his movies, and even setting a bar for other actors who were able to play Zorro and even other iconic characters such as pirates as well. One particular or two particular character actors of the modern day, Antonio Banderas, would play Zorro later on, and would have to play his best and even make the character his own. Whilst Russell Crowe would look at Tyrone Powers as well as an example of being inspired by him and using this element to play Maximus in the movie Gladiator. Tyrone Power would have his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and would be added in many lists of being one of the greatest actors in the world or in Hollywood in general. Thank you for watching and please subscribe if you haven't done so. My name is Suki Cookie and thank you for watching.